Don't look back, we're here to stay. A life we knew would come one day. And this is it, the borderline to where the future leaves us behind. The fire will burn and never die. Looking through the eyes of a brand new life. And so just find me, just find me. Sparks will fly. If we scream no, this is not how we're gonna go. We are the ones who will never let go. Just watch us run to where no one knows. We'll never
Hello and welcome everybody. Playoffs and the momentum leading up to it is all but high at this point.
You have to go into every gunfight in this game, especially where trades are almost a necessity. A Seeker will come through and steal 3. God damn it, I'm hyped. K7, you just got a trade here on a Wednesday night. Finals match here inside of the playoffs for Season 3 of K7. My name's McCormiel. Alongside myself is Kamaka, Kyle. Whichever way you want to pronounce it, he's okay with it. And that's all you got to have. Folks, once again, welcome. We got a match between the HeartBreakers and Hyped eSports here. And again, the final quarterfinals match here of the playoffs. As we get ready to go into the semifinals, which will start next week, and then eventually lead us into the grand finals throughout the week. We got to talk one more time about two teams, which one is going to be going home tonight. And, well, for some, it's probably looking like the Hyped eSports roster.
Definitely could be, Corn, as I was a little bit muted. I'll just repeat what I said right there real quick. Yeah, it's definitely looked like HeartBreakers are going to be the favorite team coming in. They're our #1 seed pretty much, and on top of that, they have not dropped a single series this entire season. First team to ever do that in K7, by the way. Let's take a little bit of a look as to how we got here, though, Corn. Go ahead and take us through it.
First and foremost, we had the wild card games that started out a little bit earlier on, but more importantly, when we talk about the teams that were able to go through that wild card and get into the quarterfinals, you're looking at immediately at Hyped eSports, and they're playing the HeartBreakers here inside of this best of 5 series. Folks, remember, the most important thing about these playoffs is there's no double elimination, so once you lose, you are gone every single time you step into one of these matches, one of these best of 5 series. You always have the utmost pressure on you, and that is the biggest key component for all these teams going throughout the playoffs, and that's going to put them at the best possible. I guess when you really look at it, it's going to put them at their best possible play throughout the entire season, more or less. Would you kind of agree with that?
I agree 100%, Corn. Absolutely zero room for mistakes for any of these teams here, because basically any mistakes are going to be capitalized upon in this area of the competition, and too many of those being capitalized on, you'll be out completely. and I do believe that we'll be getting just very, very close. Both these teams on the cusp of getting a little bit of a payout here, but they got to go a little bit further down in order to get there. Corn, we've talked about the who, we've talked about the what, which is K7 Call of Duty. Let's talk a little bit about the where on the maps and give me your opinion.
First and foremost, we got Apocalypse Hardpoint to start off map number 1, close quarters, closely contested, and it should be a bloodbath where the side of HeartBreakers, more importantly, should succeed, and we'll talk about that a little bit more here in just a moment. But for the Search and Destroy, we've got Miami going into our control for the first of our 3 inside of this best of 5 series. We'll end up on Raid, and if we need to go the distance to 4 and 5, we've got Raid and Express going on through after the fact. So we go to a Hardpoint for map number 4 on Raid, which, again, could more or less tailor the side of the HeartBreakers. The S&D at the very end, should we see a map number 5, is in a lot of facets also a very aggressive aggro map to start a lot of rounds out. So once again, Kyle, kind of bring us through what the HeartBreakers bring to the table in terms of aggression.
Well, what they do bring, Corn, is a whole lot of slaying power. Dior is just so dang mean up close. They don't quite have Octavane anymore, as you'll see in a second, but they brought in someone in his place who I do believe, based on the credentials he brings, can be an apt replacement. Now, the thing about this first map especially, Corn, is that you really need your subs to do good, and they can only do good if your ARs can get there. So, I mean, depending on what Hyped Esports brings to the table, it could definitely shut down a couple of the elements that HeartBreakers do have very good. They're just going to have to make sure that they hold those long sight lines.
And once again, folks, we do want to go ahead and remind you that all this is possible here at K7 due to our beautiful partners here that are bringing us through every single game, every single match, but more importantly, the postseason. Innovated gear, designed by you, GitGudHosts, DropShotStats, and Rogue Energy. Once again, they make this all possible, just like you guys at home do. And with that being said, smash the damn like button.
Yes.
Do it. Retweet the stream. We've got a great match. This is the best team statistically and overall in K7. There should be no reason, no excuse that we don't have a party for them. But speaking of the HeartBreakers roster, well, let's go take a look at them. First and foremost, you've got Treasy, you've got 04, Dior, and hopefully replacing Octavane on this 4-man roster. And Kyle, kind of what is that going to do for this roster going forward? Because they had a bit of struggle, and really, I guess that was the main decision that they went with to go ahead and replace.
You see, Octavane, he was just an incredibly cracked sub. Every single map, you would just see him absolutely slamming kids' faces into the pavement, more or less, without lack of a better term. Hopefully, I'm not quite sure what role he is going to play, whether it be an AR or a third sub, sort of like what he was, or a flex of some kind, but I'm sure the fact that they brought him up in the first place, the reason why they took Octavane out, they were having a little bit of hard times in other aspects of playing, so they brought in Hopefully instead. So I'm assuming that them bringing in Hopefully means that he is, in theory, better than Octavane. So that's definitely a scary thought. But going through the Hyped Esports roster now on your screen, it might look a little bit different to you guys because it's a completely different roster. They got the Indiana Syndicate treatment, Corn.
Yeah, realistically speaking, when you bring a new roster in and you try to put them in a situation to where you need them to perform well in a playoff scenario where they, one, don't potentially know all of their opponent's strengths and weaknesses, and number 2, might not have the necessary time to game plan for them, it's going to make that even more difficult on top of the fact that you have a different roster bringing in. So with Nyx, Splats, Veracity, and Grifsky, would you love to see them be able to pull out an upset against the HeartBreakers? Absolutely. That's what playoffs are for. That's what we live to see. But is it going to happen? 9 doctors and 9 dentists out of 10 say probably not. So when we look at the two rosters comparatively, we know what one team is capable of. We really don't know or haven't seen what the side of Hyped Esports new roster is going to be capable of as we get into this match. But for Apocalypse Hardpoint map number 1, you said it the best. SMGs, you're going to have to get aggressive. You're going to have to get up in the face of the opponent, and you're going to have to dominate the map inside and out.
Yeah, that's really true. But Corn, one thing that we haven't totally talked about as I bring it back to us is, I don't know, I think Sun Tzu said it best in The Art of War, my dude, is that knowing your opponents and knowing yourself can win you every single battle. That's basically what he said. It's translated from Old Mandarin Chinese, so it's going to have a little bit of hiccups, ladies and gentlemen, especially when you're going to English. But anyways, guys,
I don't speak Mandarin, so
basically what I'm saying here is there's 2 things of that. They're going to know just how good HeartBreakers are coming into this. HeartBreakers not necessarily going to know them, but as long as they know themselves, as long as these guys have the ability to play well with each other, and that combined with the fact that HeartBreakers aren't necessarily going to know how these guys are going to play, that could definitely leave a little bit of an impact in here, Corn. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely, and you really can't agree. And once again, like I said beforehand, you don't know anything about Hyped Esports. If you are able to play well and you are able to go around the map, be able to win those crucial one-on-one gunfights, but more importantly, find those trades in map number 1 with your SMGs, who knows? Maybe one of the players from the side of Hyped Esports is going to be the most cracked AR, and we'll see him be and hold the back line throughout the entirety of the match, get the spawns over towards Temple side for P2, be able to run around the map, be able to just hold those lines of sights that he needs for those SMGs to get through the map. Hey, you're looking at a potential loss for the side of the HeartBreakers, but I wouldn't kind of jump the gun too early there, because I at least want to go through one map to see really and truly well what they can bring to the table. And then we can kind of discuss, okay, was it a close match? Okay, if it's close, how do they fare in the S&D? What can we kind of gauge from that first map? Can we see if they're going to be a team that can play well in S&D? Because you can gain a lot of knowledge about a team just from one map on a hard point. If you see they can counter HeartBreakers' aggression well, perfect. That's great. You can go into the S&D knowing that aggression from HeartBreakers might not work to get onto a specific bomb site, whether it be A or B on Miami specifically, when really there's only one bomb site that you're going to want to go to 90% of the time, unless you are a little bit more, I guess, of a pro working towards that A site on the beach. And even then, that's where those ARs once again are going to have to step up. So every single map that we're going to see in this series, your ARs are going to be at the forefront, and they are going to be the ones who are going to dictate wins or losses for both of these teams.
Yeah, it really is, especially on this map. We were talking about how cracked the subs can be, but it only goes in so far as the ARs can get you close. Now, Corn, we are waiting on everybody to be all readied up right now so far, so I'm curious to see what you think. I know that we both know absolutely nothing about HeartBreakers, but assuming that Hyped Esports is able to get a win here, what do you think the rest of the series is going to look like here, man?
Do you mean map number 1 if they are able to get a win?
Yeah, if they're able to win map number 1.
If they're able to win map number 1, I think that is there's 2 ways this can go. Number 1, it's that we see an incredibly talented Hyped Esports roster being able to almost stun the HeartBreakers, but I think that would also come from potentially the HeartBreakers maybe kind of playing down to their opponent. You see the record sometimes of another opponent, maybe don't realize that it's a brand new roster. Even if you see a new roster, maybe you know the names of those opponents, and then you start ego challenging things. You start playing a bit more careless in the way that you're trying to push around the map with your team, and then that can lead to not playing as well together and not playing as together overall. And number 2, if Hyped Esports do take map number 1, realistically speaking, an S&D is not going to be the easiest thing to take off the HeartBreakers. You know that they're going to come out and they're kind of anticipating winning this since they've gone 9-0. So if you go into a map number 2, that's really when you're going to see them start to kind of kick it into high gear if they lose map number 1. They're going to tie the series 1-1 anyways, but hell, maybe I'm just an imbecile for thinking that way, and Hyped Esports are going to come out and stun myself, stun everybody in the chat, and stun the HeartBreakers themselves. But I truly think that this is a series that belongs to the HeartBreakers no matter which way you look at it, even if Hyped Esports can come out and really put on a show in map number 1.
Yeah, well, I was talking about Hyped Esports getting a little bit of the Indiana Syndicate treatment, but HeartBreakers, we've talked about the fact that they have not lost a single group stage match. They might get a little bit of the Atlanta FaZe treatment. Who really knows here, Corn? Anything can really happen. It's playoffs time. Crazy things have happened. But I mean, there's just so much unknown here with this Hyped Esports roster, and I cannot wait. Going to be getting in here very, very soon with this Apocalypse Hardpoint, ladies and gentlemen. Both teams are now ready. Should be starting in the next 30 seconds, but I want to take this 30 seconds to reiterate what Corn said just a little while ago, and make sure you guys go and, in love, smash the like button. Just smash that like button so hard that it just lets us know. Yes, just do it.
It doesn't have to be out of love. It doesn't have to be. Just smash it. I want you to take. Okay, maybe this is a liability thing, so
oh god,
take your fist and shove it through your monitor on that like button spot.
Just a little bit of a caveat here: K7 League is not responsible for any smashed monitors as a result of what Corn just said, ladies and gentlemen.
Corn is also not responsible for any type of broken monitors whatsoever, even though I directly gave you an order to do so. So please, for the love of God, do not smash your monitors.
Smash like buttons, not monitors. Anyways, Corn, HeartBreakers going to be on this good side of the map, but you see Hyped Esports, they're actually going to the opposite side of the map. They're going to go for this initial break on the hill, whereas HeartBreakers, they're anticipating something else completely.
You're going to see Grifsky get that first blood on the map, so with Hyped Esports being able to set up towards top TV, it's going to be interesting to see what they do here if they push back on towards the middle, but Treasy from the top ropes gets a couple of shots down. More importantly, though, Hyped Esports, they're going to get that first 10 seconds into the pointer relative to it. And now it's going to be about those rotations over towards P2.
Ooh.
Can you break through the temple? Well, we'll see.
It's going to be a little bit easier now that the fact that HeartBreakers are no longer spawning there, but Hype eSports, they got to do this fast. They are going to get a little bit of intel that's happening from the shots in the back. Splat, he's going to be seeing hopefully, and he totally takes him down. Spawn's not going to be totally, you know, in the hands of either team whatsoever, but Splat's in a good position to hold it down. He's just going to be making sure that they don't get even moderately close, but, I mean, HeartBreakers doing good stuff in the middle of the map to make sure that this doesn't go either way as well.
Here's the big thing, right? You got 3 players from Hype eSports now pushing through the front doors over from Turtles. So already off the rip, HeartBreakers, they tried to send 3 through the back and it didn't work out. But now here comes the assault. 2 players pushing forward. Splats is going to be able to try and find that first kill, but it's Treasy and 04 who are there to duo in tandem for the kills. Last one alive is going to be player number 5 in Veracity. Can you find the kills? Can you stay alive? More importantly, the answer is no. They'll fall time going to the HeartBreakers early on.
This is, we saw a lot of scrappiness going the way of those guys, but that was still just not allowing Hype eSports to spawn there. It was crazy how he just held up so much time, but the guys on the hill just weren't able to hold it down or reinforce in time. Just some great play from HeartBreakers. So trying to go for this rotation next, not getting too bogged down and making the rotation early and often. Dior, he's going to make his team a little bit of space, and 04, he's in a great position to do some stuff here as well. Does get a little bit stuck, and the spawn-outs do come out now, Corn. So, I mean, granted, Hype eSports, they got a good setup right now. But HeartBreakers, they've got good stuff going for them as well with the spawns and the potential to break back in with gun skill.
Well, what you saw previously, right, was HeartBreakers were able to break back towards that last point over on P2 relatively quickly. It was about 15 to 20 seconds in. So now they're going to try to look to do the same, starting with Treasy here in middle map. They're going to get top TV control, and now it's a push back towards the spawns to potentially try and find those for P4, P5, but more importantly, where we're looking at right now is P3. Treasy's going to be able to find 1, make it 2 as he pushes back towards the point. 35 seconds left. Hype eSports battle, and Retaliant is back. They've got to be able to find these initial kills, and Veracity's going to start with 1.
Yeah, he does immediately get sussed out by some good spawn play from HeartBreakers, getting the spawns again, and they are going to be pretty much in a good spot for these next 2 hills here, Corn. It's, I don't know, this mid-map control as well is just looking incredibly good for them. When you're piecing together kills like that, full team wipe, Hype eSports, they're basically going to have to fight out from a tough spot. Splax, oh man, that is a tough gunfight to lose. Full health, Dior, not quite so much, but, I mean, Dior, we've been talking about him. He just gets kills for fun, basically. The good thing for Hype eSports is that hopefully he's not totally in the best of positions to hold on to this. He gets taken down, and just like that, Dior pulled out a position, does get 1, but there's another one that he's not totally anticipating here, and his teammates are just continuously getting called back. How long are you going to be able to keep this up, though, if you're HeartBreakers?
Yeah, if you're a Brisky right there on your Stampede for 2, you took down Dior, who was on 5, so that streaks an opportunity there for him. Gone for the side of the HeartBreakers. Now with the 75 to 51 lead, you've got control of P4. You don't technically have those spawns just yet, but with that kill there, you are going to be able to have a 3 versus 1 push out towards the back, and Veracity needs to be careful because you've got 2 players pushing. You're going to be able to find the shots there onto the first one. You know the second one's in the back, but Treasy will be able to shut him down. Grisky there on the trade will get them the spawns. They'll get the scrap time of about 15 seconds for P2, and you're going to be in towards point number 5. So right now, Hype eSports, what they've shown me is they can battle the aggression of the HeartBreakers, and actually quite well.
Yeah, what I've been seeing is some good, I would say, AR play from Hype eSports to get themselves in 50-50 positions, and when they're in those 50-50 positions, they're looking pretty dang good. If you look at the subs from HeartBreakers, they're pretty much dead even, and so are the Hype eSports players. Treasy, the AR, pretty much the best AR on the map right now, but even he's still going basically 50-50 with these guys. Hype eSports, they're getting a lot of bang for their buck when it comes to gunfights here. And yeah, especially when it comes to spawn control. 04, he might have gotten a little bit of an insta break on the point, but the spawns are there for Hype eSports to go right back in, and the kills that they're getting are much more hurtful to HeartBreakers than they are for Hype eSports because of the reinforcement rates here, Corn.
Back and forth, the submachine gun duos have went for both of the teams. Gripsky, Splat, they've been able to push up the map and get extremely aggressive time after time, and I believe the side of Hype eSports are running a 3-sub kind of tandem right now, which actually is quite viable on this map specifically. Obviously, when you do talk about having 3 SMGs, maybe you don't have necessarily as much AR presence, so if you want to set up on middle map for some head glitches, it might not work out in your favor, but when you're able to just push up through the map and get 4 down like that, it's not going to matter, and that's where the submachine gun presence really strikes through because of that aggression. So, with 55 seconds left on point number 1, HeartBreakers are in, but Hype eSports, well, their trek to try and get to Temple, it's worked out, it's paid off, and they've got P2 spawns.
Their trek to try and get to Temple. I love the T usage there, Corn. It was awesome. But anyway, Splax, he's going to find 04 just in time. What I'm loving right now is Veracity holding it down. But what I love from Heartbreakers is the fact that they're just getting so much time off of this that they'll basically be negating the effect of P2 holding it. They'll basically it'll get Hyped Esports right back even with them if they don't get broken off of P2. So yeah, you got to be very, very careful here. It's a dangerous position to be in for Hyped Esports. They're starting to fly out now because they're starting to get a little bit apprehensive about the fact that Heartbreakers are coming out here. But if they expose themselves too much, then they might just get hands from the other end. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, here's the thing, right, Kyle? Heartbreakers, they basically get a full 60 seconds on point number 1 because Hyped Esports was so well endowed with trying to get in towards the back that it really didn't matter much what they did. The Heartbreakers just played the caveat to what they were trying to do. It was the Achilles heel of the entire play the Hyped Esports made, so if they don't get 60 seconds of time here, it's going to basically amount to absolutely nothing, but with Nyx finding that kill there, you've got a couple more players now trying to push up towards the back. Heartbreakers still spawning out across the map, and it's going to be on 04 and Dior here towards the point to get these last couple of kills, and Dior has broken in through the front. Still 30 seconds of time, and now you have the in because the players that are coming in terms of reinforcements are right behind you. You're going to get the scrap time of 25 seconds when Hyped Esports are forced to win.
That's actually exactly what I was about to say there, Corn. Dior getting that kill was absolutely massive because just like that, his teammates were in the reinforcing, and they are now in that nasty little head glitch. Granted, Splax does take one down, but Dior instantly smacks him down right back to where he came. Hyped Esports, that's not ideal, man. That's really not ideal. Losing 60 seconds off of P1, which is pretty contestable, and you get contested hard on the hill that's even less contestable. Yeah, you really got to get something going, and you got to get something going now. Like, Heartbreakers, they've looked so dang mean on the break. You got to have some sort of an answer for this. What I was saying earlier is that the ARs were just keeping Heartbreakers at a distance, but it's not really been that way so much now. Nyx, on the other hand, he's starting to look a little bit more streaky now, starting to make the adjustments that he needs to, Corn.
Well, here's the thing, right? Heartbreakers necessarily aren't outslaying the side of Hyped Esports. It's relatively close all the way across the board, and I believe Hyped Esports actually have the statistical advantage of the kill numbers on the map. Heartbreakers, more or less, they're just playing the objective so well, and they're giving up time. A lot of Hyped Esports kills came over towards Temple last time, so now as you're pushing back in towards the point, sure, you're getting maybe 15 to 20 seconds of scrap on each and every hill, but it's not going to amount really to anything when the Heartbreakers are just rotating early, getting in towards the point, and beating you everywhere that you were beating yourselves.
Oh, that is so painful. Hopefully, he knows exactly when to get out, and he knows when to chow too. He takes down 3. Holy mackerel. Veracity is going to know what's going down here, and he does take down 04, but not hopeful. I mean, I guess hopefully is down, but the good thing for them right now is they had the streaks to clear off some time on this objective, weaken some people up, and now they're going right on in. They clean up shop, Corn. This is a couple of hills right now, these next two, that you can really put together easily, and if they do that, they are basically right back into the game.
Well, you got the couple of kills at the front. Splat's going to be able to pick up one in middle map, should be traded out immediately, and Veracity will be there. So they've got the presence all the way to the half mark on the mini-map. And then now as Nyx and the rest of the team are just holding on strong over towards Turtle, you're going to see everybody from the side of the Heartbreakers start to push up through middle map here. Veracity's going to be able to spot out one. He's got teammates to help there as well. Grifsky's there, but Trazy finds 2. So 206, 178. You're still spawning over towards P5, and this is the biggest moment of the game right here. What can you do here on these rotations? What can you do for the kills? And as Nyx finds 1 and Trazy down below falls, it's going to be the side of the Heartbreakers once again forced to push across the map while Hyped Esports, they've locked down P5.
Really is. Yeah, Veracity, he's just going to be calling in streaks to try and deny as much, you know, pushing up ability as he can for the Heartbreakers, turning a bad position into even worse position for them. But Dior does somehow slip through the cracks. Minimal damage at best, though. And just like that, Hyped Esports, they're in a great position to reinforce this until just about now. Spawn's actually going into the hands of their opponents. But oh my god, man, oh man, are they holding this down, Corn. They can get this win off of these next 2 objectives, and they could put Heartbreakers in a position where they have to win this next S&D.
Nyx is on 5. Splats found a couple in towards the point, and so did Veracity's. Once again,
The outslaying numbers are in the hands of Hyped Esports. They've got more kills. They've got more time now on the board. And with 8 seconds, it'll put them 10 away from taking map number 1. If anybody thought that the side of Hyped Esports were going to be able to come in here and shock map number 1 away from the side of the HeartBreakers, they're getting proven wrong now. Flats will find 2. Nyx doesn't find the streaks, but 04 has to stay alive and towards the point. Can't do so. 14 seconds left. Dior starting to push up. Treasy, hopefully they'll pair for a couple. That's 3 down now, trying to make it the last one in number 4. Player number 7 in Grifsky just playing in chicken coop. 2:14, 2:39, 40 seconds left. Either team can win on point number 1.
It's a tough fight to lose. Veracity and the guys are just scrambling to get something going here because HeartBreakers, they can win off this one too. That's something that Hype Esports didn't think going into it because they were so focused on winning themselves, I'm sure. But barring any serious contention going on here, look at Nyx. If they can just make sure that they can stop this push being successful for HeartBreakers, they still got Nyx around the back. Treasy down for the count. They're forcing 04 to come back and deal with this. He goes down, and just like that, there's no off-hill support for HeartBreakers. Hopefully, he's going to get surrounded and slightly pounded, and now just like that, Hype Esports all up on the objective. Setup completely gone for HeartBreakers, but they can win this off. The next one is going to have to be good for Hyped.
Doesn't matter. 3 seconds left. 2-1 HeartBreakers. This is why you always bet on them to come through when it matters the most. They win by I guess you could say a slight margin, if that's even what you could call that. Nonetheless, though, by a 6-point margin of victory, they take map number 1, take control of the series. But Hyped Esports, folks, new roster, new look. They are here to play. They are here to upset the best team throughout the regular season in K7. And they want blood. And I'm all here for it, Kyle. I'm all here for it.
Yeah, Corn, there is definitely blood in the water. Definitely going to be sniffing that up like it's a nice little bit of perfume. Hyped Esports, yes, nice
Dior
perfume. Yeah, Dior perfume. Yeah, funny, because that's a guy in HeartBreakers. I get what you're doing there, Corn. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, Hyped Esports, they might not have won that first one, but they looked pretty damn good. Losing, I mean, it was falling with style, as some would say, Corn. Quote Buzz Lightyear right there. But yeah, going into this next map, it is definitely the wheelhouse of HeartBreakers. I don't think they've lost a single map all season in this map and mode. Miami, it's a little bit of a map less traveled, but I mean, HeartBreakers, based on what I've seen so far, the AR presence and the sub presence, they can make good out of pretty much any situation. I think Hyped is going to be in a tough spot.
Yeah, well, I mean, we saw Miami kind of like spike and surge like halfway through stage 2 back in the CDL and even a little bit at the end of stage 1. And that's when you saw a lot of amateur teams really start to kind of get a groove on Miami specifically. And although you got Express, you got Raid, you got maps that everybody is familiar with, and it might be a little bit easier to tailor that to your play style. Miami is one of those wild card maps that if you can play well on it and you can get it to slip through the vetoes from the other team, maybe not feeling as comfortable matching up against you on some of your maps that might be statistically your best, you're happy with that. You're fine with that because now you can work that and master that to your game plan. And after going up 1-0, and although it was close, you know the HeartBreakers are going, okay, we can breathe a sigh of relief. We didn't lose to a team that technically has a lot worse of a record than us at 4-5. Although it's a new team, I get it. Still looking back at the regular season, 4-5, 13-20 in the map count throughout the entire regular season. So for the HeartBreakers, they look at that, they say, okay, that was way too close of a call on map number 1. Let's kind of recollect here in the S&D, and maybe this is where HeartBreakers plays a bit more passive in the S&D. They're known for being an aggressive team, but if you play a little bit more passive and then have Hyped Esports start to push through the map to you, and you're able to counteract that every single round and just make those small adjustments to not only your setups, but your post-plant pushes and your post-plant setups, you'll be good to go. And that's the biggest thing for HeartBreakers to kind of go here and almost assume mentally in your mind is that, okay, Hyped Esports, if they played you close to map number 1, they're probably going to be able to do the same in map number 2 because both of the teams are playing very, very, very aggressive.
Yeah, both teams looking pretty solid on the aggression here. Now, a fun fact, Hyped Esports, they were supposed to play in the wild card round, but the team that was supposed to play them actually forfeited. So this is their first match together in the entire league right now. And there's definitely something to be said about not losing, but like getting your first match of the playoffs by forfeit. I'm sure that's going to be causing HeartBreakers to probably underestimate them even more, I guess you could say, because they didn't necessarily get it on their own merits. But hey, they got here in the first place. Hyped Esports under a different group, but they are not showing that they don't deserve it by any means. Going toe-to-toe in the HeartBreakers, in case you guys missed it, 4 points separating these teams in the hard point. Hyped going to be on the defense first, and it looks like they're going for a very holistic approach. They know that HeartBreakers likes to go for either one of these, Corn.
Folks, if you're looking at the top right of your screen, you're going to see Hyped Esports does technically have 3 players on there. It's just a little bit visual bug. It'll fix itself here when the next round starts up, so please don't worry about that. No one's lagged out. We are here to play, and all these rounds will count. Nyx, though, first kill off the board is going to be 0-4. Dior will trade that out immediately, so in a push over towards the A site, you've got the bomb there, but look for player number 8 looking to make the play to upset this push. It's going to be Splat who finds one. Dior, once again, the trade man coming through. Veracity in the back of the map is going to actually kind of cause an upset here because now Dior has to clutch a 1 versus 2.
Yeah, the good thing about this for Dior is that if he can find Grifsky rather quickly, then he can make it a 1v1 and then another 1v1. But the thing is that time is basically up. These guys, they know their stuff. Hyped Esports, they instantly consolidate themselves into a common sight line now. Dior, he's looking for him, trying to get a little bit of a kill because he knows that there was a guy on the other end of the map. But time is not on his side, and neither is COD timing, apparently, as he is instantly dropped. Hyped Esports taking this first round.
Yeah, you want to see him rotate over towards B there, and it was going to be a really nice play because you do have everybody from the side of Hyped Esports kind of faked out, wrapping over towards A. It just really comes down to where the side of Hyped Esports kind of looks in middle map. You've got a player looking close over towards the actual lifeguard house, and then you got a player across the map and middle map looking for the cross as well. So you're not going to 9 times out of 10 be able to make that cross without the opponent seeing you, but you'll like to try anyways. 1 versus 2 won't happen. Dior, despite the trades early on, Hyped Esports, they come through, they pick them off, and now they're going to be on the offensive try here, and they're going to go over towards A as well. And you're going to see player number 5 in Veracity set up on the boats and live a lavish lifestyle.
Yeah, and another thing to point out for Hyped Esports is that they all got a kill, Corn. They all got a kill. It wasn't just one person getting them all like for HeartBreakers. It was a very even distribution of the workload, I guess you could say. Nyx taking some big fat rips and not in a good way from Treasy, but yeah, they do eventually suss him out and they catch another guy in the rotation. Veracity, he's just been that sneaky beefer. That's the second time he's caught somebody just by being a super sneaky fellow. Just like that, HeartBreakers on the rotation on over, bomb gonna be planted, and they're not really in a good position to answer back here, I would say.
And not really. 2 versus 4 is never going to be an advantageous or optimal position for your team to be in, especially with the setup that the set of Hyped Esports has post-plant. Around the corner, Grifsky's going to be looking for the player and somehow doesn't spot him as he gets in towards the house. But with 30 seconds left, you've got to make this play work because you've got to hopefully trying to make a play over here. But you got Grifsky sat in the corner. You got 2 players over on the boat. Hopefully comes through and is the first one to fall. Last one alive is going to be Dior here in a 1 versus 4, 1 versus 2 last time. But they know where this player is. They can just jump around corners. And, well, scratch exactly what I was saying beforehand. These adjustments, these passive plays from HeartBreakers are not working out in their favor. Hyped Esports has beat them in every way possible thus far in the S&D.
Man, a little bit of a shocker coming out here from Hyped Esports. Definitely shocking the crowd. A little bit of shock and awe, I guess you could say. I don't know, man. Like Sun Tzu, like I said, knowing your opponent and knowing yourselves, these guys, they're playing very well together. Like, it's never really any individual efforts except for, I guess you could say, Veracity playing solo dolo, winning his 1v1s, but the rest of the Hyped Esports players always together. And there's something to be said about the level of trust you have to have in a player to play solo dolo like that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have faith that he will play sneaky and win his one and not cost you guys the game by not being totally together. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Treasy, though. First blood in the round on the splats. Has been the aggressor thus far for Hyped Esports in a lot of these rounds, although he's been traded out multiple times. Getting that first pick off the board has been crucial because it dwindles what HeartBreakers want to do, and it forces them to kind of change their mindset of what they want to do over towards a specific site. But despite all that, they still are in a 3 versus 4, but HeartBreakers are playing this a bit more passive. They don't realize that 2 players from the side of Hyped Esports are rotated all the way over towards B still, so they can get this bomb down, but middle map lane is wide open for the taking, especially with hopefully being there. Watching over with the AR. Bomb's going to go down. 45 seconds left.
Yeah, maybe the passive play working out for them a whole lot more. They do eventually get Grifsky as he does try and get the rotation on here. HeartBreakers are in a little bit of a better position here. They're not in as great of a position as Hyped were in this situation, but Veracity overextending does get taken down by 0-4, and it's just like that. It's Nyx versus 3.
Can you pull it off? You've got shots on the 1, but 0-4 will escape with his life. That now allows for the side of HeartBreakers to push back through middle map. Nyx is going to try to find the shots onto hopefully 1 versus 2s, 1 versus 3s, 1 versus 1s. Haven't worked out in the favor of any team thus far that's been on the odd side of them. 1 to 2. HeartBreakers get on the board for the first time.
Yes, they do, and it could not really have come at a better time. If you go down 3-0, that really is not the easiest thing to come back from. 1 to 2, it's only a 1-point differential. But if they had lost that round, it would have been a 3-point differential. Quick maths, ladies and gentlemen. Here at the K7 League, we actually have casters that are good at mathematics. But anyways, Hyped Esports, what are you going to really do as a
Speak
counter
for
to that?
yourself, dude. Come
Yeah,
on.
I mean, I guess I can a little bit. I guess I am speaking for myself. Anyways, Hyped Esports, we saw this very commonly the last time, but how often is Veracity going to be able to get away with catching these guys in the rotation before he eventually gets too predictable and he gets taken down himself? Might have a little bit of the Envoy treatment there, if you know what I'm talking about, Corn.
Oh yeah, man. He can sit there as many times as you want in different spots, but if HeartBreakers never extend past that halfway point and they just hold the angles that they're playing now, there's going to be absolutely no need for him to be able to sit there because nobody's going to be pushing that. So then he's just by himself, leaving his teammates in a 3 versus 4, as we see right now. Though instead of Hyped Esports, they're just going to be trying to find maybe a pick to equalize things out of the 3 versus 3, or maybe rotate this back over towards B. But HeartBreakers, they're set up across middle map and across the map right now is unreal. It's beautiful. It's a thing of beauty. And the best thing about it is that you have every single lane covered and nobody can go unchecked on the side of Hyped Esports. And this is exactly what you'd love to see if you're on the HeartBreakers with 25 seconds left in the round.
Yeah, basically going to make Hyped Esports fight for any little bit of ground they want to gain. Hopefully, he's chilling here. Very patient. He does take down one, and that is bomb down and Veracity as well. Nyx, opposite end of the map. Not enough time to get the bomb, not enough time to get any kills, so he's just going to take a little bit of a dirt nap. Equalizing now is HeartBreakers. 2-2. They answer the 2 in a row with a 2 in a row of their own. Definitely got to be feeling a little bit better after that one, Corn.
2 in a row right there. You win an offense and a defense. You tie the game up at 2 apiece. But you've got your players motivated now. You've got your players on a roll. You got Hopefully on 4, Treasy on 3. So 3 more kills here from Hopefully. Maybe a bomb plan or a defuse that comes through and is able to maybe bolster those numbers just a bit more in terms of the score streak department. You can find those streaks. For Treasy, 4 more kills, same thing can be said about the streaks. So that being said, as we push over towards A, you've got 3 players already on the rip. You got players number 8 and 6. That's going to be Splats and Nyx looking for the push across middle map. And this time for the side of Hyped Esports, you send 2 open towards top piano. They can rotate on over back towards the site, but it's relatively been the same play every single time for the side of Hyped Esports on the defensive side, except this time you technically send 2 over towards A.
Oh, that's a tough kill to not get for Splax, but still 0-4 knows where he's at. This, like you said, it's in a very dangerous position now for HeartBreakers, where now they have so many players that can get on streaks right now. You got to be very careful of Hopefully. He's not going to put himself in a position where he can die very easily, and just like that, the rest of HeartBreakers going to be doing the same thing, not putting themselves in positions where they can die easily, putting themselves in the back, but Hopefully still gets beamed by Nyx. That's streaks off the table for him, and a flank coming out from Veracity again. Ah, man, but will it come in time, though, Corn?
Exactly. It's got to be quick here, too, because Treasy's also coming. I don't know if Veracity is actually going to see him. So Treasy just got the time of his life, shoots Veracity in the back. Now it's a 3 versus 3, but he's got to get back to help his teammates on the bomb, or at least you so would have thought. Splats gets some shots over towards the right. Dior is there, but the Krig is going to be too much to handle for the side of Hyped Esports. Despite winning the first 2 rounds, HeartBreakers, they've won 3 in a row. They put themselves in the driver's seat here in the S&D, and this is what you typically would expect HeartBreakers to do inside of an S&D. And this is kind of what I was talking about beforehand, Kyle. This is where we see the passive play from HeartBreakers almost being able to take over maps.
Yeah,
Hyped Esports hasn't been able to do anything on the aggressive side.
That's actually a really good point you bring up there. A lot of the things that have gone the way of Hyped Esports has started off with a pick from Veracity on a guy trying to flank. That has basically neutered any kind of aggression coming out from HeartBreakers. And when they're playing on the passive, Hyped Esports, that makes them have to go on the aggressive, especially when they're on the attack. Now, we do have Treasy still with the potential for streaks here. They do take down Hopefully again. But yeah, I mean, Veracity, it seems like his flank plays are being a little bit reined in here, and I think that's a great adjustment to make when it's starting to dry up in terms of its usefulness.
Over towards the site. First time in forever, it seems like Hyped Esports have something go their way. They get the bomb down, now in a 4 versus 2. Your post plant, once again, great. You've got both pairs of duos playing together. One's up in towards top piano, the other one's playing in the garage, and in the streak now 0-4 though. You get that first pick, and now Treasy able to find some shots in the Nyx, but more importantly, Nyx will find the initial kill. And there comes Veracity in for the last cleanup. So 3-3, HeartBreakers. Passiveness doesn't play well, but that's the first time we've seen the B-bomb be utilized by any of these teams on an offensive push. So now, after we've seen A, you've got to start thinking about how you're going to switch up your parameters on the defensive side and where you're going to start pushing and putting those members, especially not to get caught off guard.
Yeah, I really do love it when teams play like that, Corn. It's sort of like American football in a sense, where I suppose you could say you try and show a certain way and get your opponents to... I don't watch a lot of American football, but it basically breaks down to this, ladies and gentlemen. Here's a little bit of analysis for you. Basically, what you want to do is get your opponents to go a certain way to where you can make little holes in their defenses and do that instead. Your first couple of plays might not work, but if you can set a trend of going a certain way, your opponents will start subconsciously predicting for that, and it can make wide open effects and make you have some success down the road.
And on the counter push to that, you know, when you kind of make them think you're going to go a certain way, eventually in their mindset, they're thinking, oh, they're eventually going to go a different way, but then you keep hitting it home on the exact same point, and it's like, okay, if they do end up making that push, we're going to be ready for it, but are they going to make that play happen? Are they going to change directions and set their pivot foot apart? But in a 1 versus 4 Veracity, we really haven't seen much in the way of the Department of Clutches, and it's not going to go ahead and be... It's just going to follow a trend once again. So 4-3, HeartBreakers up. That's just a good round, really.
Yeah.
It starts with the first blood and then goes all day.
And speaking of following trends, Corn, a trend that we have been seeing is round 7s having an ungodly curse at pushing a team through to, you know, winning the Search and Destroy. He who wins round number 7 wins the Search and Destroy. That has been a thing in K7 since I have started casting here in Modern Warfare pretty much. And HeartBreakers, they just took it at a 50-50 situation. Hyped eSports, they're now on the attack. So while the mental games do come in here, Hyped eSports has been having a statistical bad time on the attack as well, combined with that.
0-4 on the staircase. We'll back off. Nix, though, all the way from the docks to catch up untimely, unfortunate time for the side of the HeartBreakers, trying to rotate back to their teammates and get numbers in their favor once again. Treasy from middle map with the Krig, trying to find something up towards top piano, but really it hasn't been able to prove anything but futile. And as Dior's back in middle map, Treasy also playing this as well. The bomb will go down, 45 seconds left, and Splat's knows there's a rat in the mists.
Oh, that's a great little peeksy here from him. He's out of ammo. Treasy got to go for the shell, but he runs right past him. Oh, no. Dior, he's like, what am I going to do now? Man, this is tough situations to be in. Trophy systems, full setup, and just like that, Dior is in the world of misery right now. Veracity, he's on the flank again, but this time it could work. Dior, no health. 1 volt is all that is needed, and that's all he supplies. As just like that, Hyped eSports looking to break the round 7 curse. It would be a hell of a time to do it, though, Corn.
Yeah, well, I mean, Dior's pissed. You see the shots here on the Splats. Initially, didn't find that kill on the top rail. Maybe got him down to about 5 HP. If he would have gotten that kill, it would have allowed him to either pop out and try to find the player towards garage, or just make a little bit more of a play all around, but unfortunately wasn't able to do so. And what that allows is, out of Hyped eSports, to tie things up at 4-4. Last time we were tied, we saw HeartBreakers be able to take that advantage. Can they do it once again, though?
Something to really notice here, Corn, is a statistical anomaly. Nyx and Hyped eSports. Nyx, he has 3 first bloods. And Hyped eSports have the most first bloods in general, but mostly coming from him. So that's why I'm viewing him right now. Not really in a position where he's going to see anybody, but he's got good mid-map control. They've got a really good setup overall, but Nyx actually is going to get first blooded this time. Funny how things work out like that, but just like that, that's mid-map control right up into the hands of HeartBreakers. They're now getting a little bit more aggro on this push for A, and if they can find Griff, which they do, common spot, gets taken down finally that time, they're in clean for the site.
That was very, very close to being in a very unfortunate set of circumstances and murder on Miami, something that's necessarily not uncommon to the city. Splats, though, around the corner. That was a bad joke. I'm sorry. I shouldn't bring real life into this, but with Splats getting a couple shots there from up top, 0-4 is going to be able to find those last couple of bullets, or at least you thought he was going to be able to do so. But as that kill does come through, middle map fell as well. HeartBreakers at 4-4, when they tied the matches up, they take the lead every single time, put it at match point, and if they win the S&D, they'll be at series point, with 1 control being in the way of 3-0ing the side of Hyped eSports. But even if it was a 3-0, it'd be one of the closest 3-0s that we've been able to see here, not only in K7, but in Call of Duty.
Big facts, and we all know what you really meant there. Miami Dolphins are the ones that are getting murdered week in and week out.
No, I mean the city of Miami.
No, that's let's say that's what you meant. But anyways, HeartBreakers, that is a big round to win. You're 1 away from victory, but Hyped eSports wouldn't be too surprising at the rate things are going if they put this into a round 11. HeartBreakers, though, got a lot of experience in round 11s. They've won probably more round 11s than most teams in the game besides, I would say, Knights Templar. But anyways, Veracity and the guys, they are really up and in their business. Hopefully, if he can get a pick here, that would be huge. But just like that, Hyped eSports starting to stagnate out, and HeartBreakers are filling up into the space gained that they have now.
Can you force a round 11? 2 versus 4. Now a 1 versus 4. Veracity, the last one alive. It starts now with the first kill. You look for a couple more. 2 players on the back over towards Piano are going to be the ones playing together. You've got a player on an island and player number 3 singled out, but he'll start to push up in towards the alley, now looking back behind. Hopefully we'll spot out Veracity, but Veracity does the same. He's able to find the shots there onto the head. So in a typical 1 versus 4, it's usually that second person that falls that you are to blame if this does go awry, and he's able to force around 11. Kyle, 25 seconds left. Veracity, can you clutch?
Scary stuff here. I mean, Veracity, he might be able to pull something out of, you know, his hat, because that's the thing that you pull things out. If he thinks he has the bomb, but he doesn't, now he's got to go back in there and kill these 2 guys. They might get the phase treatment, or no, they wait for the bomb to get picked up. And what I meant was the optic treatment where they get lined up like that, but they don't. They're both sitting in the same corner. If you had just checked in there, probably could have pieced them both together with a potential for team fire, but they play it smart. They hear the bomb get picked up, and they know exactly where he's going to be at. Free shots into the backside of their opponent, and that's how you do it, Corn. As the song says, this is how you do it. HeartBreakers now 2-0 up in the series, but man, I feel like that scoreline doesn't really tell the whole story.
No, it doesn't. And the biggest thing there too, right? You see a map where, although it's a 6-4, although you start up 2-0, more or less, you just took HeartBreakers into what should have been a lot less of a close search and destroy, statistically speaking, from what we've seen from them. But the same can be said about the hard points. So thus far, eSports not only have shown composure, they've shown the ability to adjust mid-rounds inside of S&Ds. They've shown the ability to adjust and have comeback ability in hard points specifically, where we saw them come back from almost, what was a 60, 70, 80-point deficit at one point, where they strung 2 hills together on Apocalypse and brought it back. So they've shown those 3 key components, and aggression has been out the ass.
Yeah.
They have been extremely aggressive every single round. They don't wait for those opportunities to come to them. They force the opportunities, take it into their own hands, and that's how they were able to win those rounds in the S&D. So with that being said, the hard point, close. S&D, close. You'd assume control is going to be close as well, and maybe this is where eSports can finally break through on the side of the HeartBreakers, take a map, force a map number 4 on Raid, which would be the same map once again that we're going to be seeing here instead of the control. You've got an advantage on that map already by winning that control, so then you go to an S or a hard point, same map, different results, potentially, maybe force a game number 5.
Yeah, this is really
all hypothetical, though. All hypothetical.
Yeah, it's all dependent on if they can actually win this one. They've come close every single time, Corn, but there's a lot to be said about, you know, getting close, but not necessarily doing it. I guess HeartBreakers, they just have the ice at the end of the day so far. Granted, it came down to the slightest of margins in the hard point. It was literally down to 1 guy dying and not totally flipping the spawns. 1 gunfight won that for them, for the HeartBreakers, and that is literally it. 1 gunfight won it. So I think if we do go down to another map, especially one that is a lot like Apocalypse in terms of playstyle, it's very rotation heavy. There are a lot of head glitches on this map, much like, you know, Apocalypse. So it'll basically be a little bit of a replay of Apocalypse. So I'm assuming that Hyped Esports, with playing a map like that, they'll probably be coming into hard point number 2 and probably performing a similar result, probably even take it over HeartBreakers. But that all depends on if they can win this control, Corn. We've said it a million bajillion times that this map, it's 50-50 for attacking and defense. With this new change, it even further and puts you into a position where you want to be attacking. And who has been the team that has been doing slightly better on the attacking tonight? HeartBreakers, 100%.
Absolutely. And, you know, so we get ready for map number 3. A lot can be said for the side of the HeartBreakers roster from what they've been able to do thus far, but a lot can be said about Hyped Esports and really just the ferocity that they show, rest in peace, ferocity that they show throughout the entirety of the series and what they can potentially do. So even if they don't win this series against the HeartBreakers, even if they aren't able to best them inside of this best of 5 series, you go a little later down the line and say, hey, we're a good team.
Oh, yeah.
We can compete. And when you go into a different league or you continue to play maybe next year inside of season 4 for K7, or I shouldn't say next year, but next season inside of K7, maybe you're looking at a roster that could potentially have that upset capability and be the team that's able to take down HeartBreakers and the rest of the league as well. So series isn't over yet. Still 2-0 up for the side of the HeartBreakers, but I think we're going to kick it to a quick break while we get ready for everything to load on up. So Hyped Esports, you've got to start the reverse sweep. And on the other side of this break, we'll see if they can force a map number 4 on Raid Control. Number 3, last chance for Hyped Esports to bring this series back, start the reverse sweep, but more importantly, keep their playoff hopes alive. Nyx will find first blood, Grifsky will find the second, and it's a great 2-down off the rip for the side of Hyped Esports, who've got themselves back over towards A on the defensive side.
And they're going to find Treasy right from that over-the-top view. Just so much great positioning gained by Hyped Esports right now, and they're making the most out of it by just throttling HeartBreakers. 4-life advantage right now. Going for the rotation, playing the flag tag attempt very, very well here. You see, they only let one get to the objective, and that's easily clean upable. In fact, they do it right now. So yeah, it's so far a great start from Hyped Esports, and they've really needed it.
Back over towards A, the close spawns come through. You've got 3 players on the point right now. They're going to stack it. The side of Hyped Esports will chalk it, and now their attention will be focused back over towards B with a 5-life advantage. However, hopefully, we'll find 2 on this life. Now be able to start rotating back over towards B. And Kyle, we talk about it time and time again, but Kitchen, one of the most important parts on this map when you're pushing on the offensive side.
Yeah, I love that from Hopefully. He knows his teammates are about to get the tick, so instead of just going on to the objective where he would probably die, he tries to make it a little bit easier for his teammates to make the rotation. That is some ingenious COD play right there. 0-4, he knows that his teammates are in basketball, so it's going to be tough for them to spawn anywhere other than Laundry, just waiting for those spawn kills. Does get like 1, but then instantly back down, but the result is already in the pudding here, Corn. HeartBreakers up in basketball, and there's going to be basically fat chance they break this.
Here they come. Treasy finds 2. Grifsky on the flank, halfway through the tick of progress at B on number 2. They've got the second tick. If you're splat, you've got to go quickly. You've got to push with the rest of your teammates. Griff is going to be there, able to find one. Now you can fly out towards the top. Veracity is going to be there as well. Here comes Dior. Last line of defense for the side of the HeartBreakers. We'll find that first kill. This allows the rest of the HeartBreakers not only to push through middle map, but get the kills over from towards top bedroom. Body shots from Dior there as well as he's on 5. Looking for a couple coming here off the spawn. Make it number 6 is not able to find number 7 and the streaks in tow. However, they'll find the round, and that's all that matters. They are 2 rounds away from moving on in the playoffs.
Indeed, Corn. I just love the reversal that they did there from Dior and 0-4. As soon as they get kicked off the objective, they just instantly flip-flop. Dior playing his life into basketball, and they instantly turn the fact that their opponents rushed into the objective from a bad thing to a good thing. They're saying, we're not trapped in here with you, you're trapped in here with us, as they get the surround and pound on them instead. As soon as that happens, Dior runs right into the spawns of the enemies and keeps his opponents away as much time as is needed to get that final tick, which granted isn't a lot, but still, he did what he had to do. Great plays at the end there for HeartBreakers.
Middle map push. Over towards A, Hyped Esports. They've already got 1 kill, but 0-4 and Hopefully are there to trade out too. So Grifsky will be the last one alive on the point. However, the close spawn from Splats is going to be there. Dior from behind is able to find 1. Continuing to be on the reign of terror from the last round. Continues the map that he's having great success with at 9-5. 26-26. A minute and 10 seconds. They've got 2 players over towards B. A bit of progress is going to go their way, but Nyx with a cheeky kill there on the Dior will get them back over towards A. They can play both of these points and split the attention from the HeartBreakers on the defensive side.
Yeah, Dior also continues to shoot the body after he has killed it. A lot of psychological warfare going on here for HeartBreakers. They're trying to get up in here on A, but they've still got Grifsky to worry about. You see, they're starting to really dedicate a lot of people to him. Number 3, the fact that he has looked away at the worst time possible means that Grifsky is going to turn from the hunted into the hunter. He takes him down completely, but just like that, HeartBreakers, they're going to shift on a dime. They know where the guy in their spawn is, taking him down for the count. But Hype Esports, you've been bought a little bit of room by this sacrificial art by Grifsky, and you're going to probably get some good time on B. Bad thing is, don't have a whole lot of mid-map control now, and you're going to get instantly wiped off of it.
And the mid-map control allows Dior to get back into art. That's the second time they've allowed Dior to flank through middle map and be able to get up and aggressive into their spawn, but more importantly, stop them from capturing A. However, they've got 2 back over towards B, but 0-4 once again is there, stops an initial push. Hopefully a middle map will be able to take down the Hyped Esports player. And right now, Hyped Esports, they're getting caught victim to just sprinting up the map. With 20 seconds left, you're still trying to push over towards B. That's had no success.
Man, 0-4 just absolutely slammed every single person approaching him right now, and Treasy getting the last one, helping him on the streaks right now. He's on 4, might be just stocking up some streaks now, HeartBreakers. I do believe Dior also had one, or was it somebody had one, or they were just very close to getting one. Anyways, Corn, they're getting very, very close to getting these streaks, which especially combined with this map control, it's going to be brewing something not good for Heartbreakers, who need to win this attack.
Yeah, an extra minute. 55 seconds left. 04 pushing up into the spawn. You've got bedroom control on the defensive side, and that's the biggest thing that you can boast right now, besides that 4-point lead. In terms of lives, at least that could be said. I should preface that. It's the life count that they're up by 4, but... Oh, now they're up by, what's that, 7? Now make it almost 8, but as Treasy finds a trade, they're on to Nyx. 3 versus 10 with 30 seconds left here inside of the round. It's looking all but hopeless right now. And they've at least got middle map control for the end of the round.
Yeah, the thing is, though, yeah, the only thing that's going to matter in a second for life count is the fact that there's about to be a 0 next to the name of Hyped. But I guess the thing, Korn, is that the best thing they could have done in that situation is try and find the guy on streaks and take him down. Easier said than done. He's obviously not going to be playing in a position where he's not going to be easy to be taken off those streaks. But at least they didn't feed him any more than they already did. So, yeah, I mean, it's just a tough situation to be in. You lose the attack, you lose the defense. Starting to fizzle out here definitely for Hyped. So either way you cut it, you're at a net deficit if you want to get that final defense. But first, you got to win a defense in order to want to get the defense.
One more round. Heartbreakers, with a win here, can move on to the semifinals to face Valiant Gaming. Hyped eSports, you've got to win 2 rounds in a row here immediately. Then you've got to win the 3rd to force a map number 4. And after every single round that we've seen thus far, it just looks even less likely the more and more we continue to push on. Grifsky, middle map. Dior starting to push up on the left side. We'll get the kill there onto Veracity. They're going to get the first tick on A without anybody from the side of Hyped eSports being able to retaliate. And this is a trap you got put in if you're the side of Hyped eSports in round number 1. Heartbreakers, they went to A. They got it quickly right off the rip, and they're looking to do the exact same thing here. But here comes the sarcophagus pinch. However, it all 4 falls down. Dior finds 2. 04 with 1. Splat in middle map will take it 2. 4 lives separate the teams. A minute and 15 seconds left. 2 ticks at A. Now you got to get over 50.
Yeah, I mean, Hyped eSports, they just got put in a little bit of a coffin of their own right there. It's just the mentality that I talked about earlier. Heartbreakers have the mentality, we're not trapped in here with you, you're trapped in here with us. As they kill every single one of them, getting the ticks over at A. Hyped eSports, they are really starting to slow down here, my dude. We saw it a little bit in the Search and Destroy with the passive gameplay, but I think maybe they're just lacking in the confidence, especially after the just loss after loss, despite how close it's been. And now Heartbreakers turning a relatively close game into one that is not so close. They want to make it definitive because they have to fight Valiant after this if they do end up winning the series.
In the Tiki Hut, trying to serve up drinks over towards the basketball courts. They know they're tired. They know they're weary. As we've seen it thus far, Hyped eSports really don't have anything left in the gas tank until now. Veracity's Nyx, tag team for 2. Dior will get the first one in towards Tiki, will be traded out immediately after the fact, but you've still got a minute and 35 seconds to work with here. 17 to 14, Hyped eSports are slowly climbing their way back into this round. You've got a good outlook on it right now with Nyx on 3, Grifsky up top, and Bedroom will at least call out 2, but you would have loved for him to stay alive there in order to get top Bedroom control, to spawn trap them and force them all the way across the map back in towards Garage or over on the ramp at A.
Yeah, he might have been serving drinks from there, but Heartbreakers are serving up L's straight up. They might lose in the mid-map, but Dior already on the objective. A little bit solo dolo, but when have we ever seen Dior in a bad position when he's solo? Man can do a lot by himself, especially when he's got Treasy watching everything other than his front run up here. But yeah, Dior all by himself now. Again, never been an issue for him, and it shows slightly here, but I mean, Heartbreakers, that's a full wipe. You got a lot of time, you can do a lot of stuff with your Korn. Just go ahead and take it away. I'm making generalizations here.
Time ticking down. Lives dwindling for both teams. Hyped eSports, they've started to go ahead and turn the burners on just a little bit. They had a deficit of about 5 lives. Now they're up by 2 and a surplus. 3 lives separate the teams. Heartbreakers, you've got one more final good push. 4 lives remain. Now make it 3. The Semtex there is not going to bode well for you to be able to stay alive. But middle map control to the side of Hyped eSports, at least for now, as they can start pushing up this ramp here. Veracity, you can stay alive. Everybody else can stay alive at the same time. But with 30 seconds left, you've got to push now.
Oh, that's a tough gunfight to lose. Grifsky, he's basically going to be their ace in the hole. He's right behind the entire enemy team. Dior, he's ready for it, though. Man is ready. What? That is crazy, man. He's just going up trying to take out this guy in the back, but at the same time, his teammates are getting enveloped. They really need him up in here because they're at a serious manpower disadvantage. He's just playing alive right here. Granted, he's about to kill him finally. His teammates are going to be slightly holding it down, and wow, Corn! Wow! I cannot believe that just happened.
They get the tick of progress at the very last second, somehow find a way not only to win the round in a, what was that, a 3 versus 8, 3 versus 7? They get on the point. Nobody from eSports was trying to get on the point. Grifsky was just trying to play his life by himself because he knew someone was chasing him around by the bedroom. You've got the rest of the players trying to make plays throughout the water side and coming off spawns after they get 3 down from the HeartBreakers. You say, okay, eSports, you're going to win your first round of the control, and then all of a sudden, a breakdown happens, and then HeartBreakers completely come back, smack him in the face with a long sausage, and say goodnight, read him a bedtime story, give him a nipple bottle of milk, and say, there you go. We're going to take the series. We're going to move on in the playoffs, and we're going to send you home. GG's. GG's.
Wow, dude, that is absolutely crazy. Even I was a little bit tunnel visioned on the fact that Griff was the only one left, or whatever his name was. I'm totally sorry there, but for whoever his real name is. But
it was Griff.
It was Griff. Guess my memory serves me well. But yeah, I cannot believe with the amount of distraction that he did, the other 3 of his teammates were not able to push in and take down the 2 on the objective. That is just absolutely bananas, insane, and I wasn't even looking at it because it's something that should be very, I guess you could say, obvious and easy to do. But HeartBreakers, man, when have they ever turned easy situations into, when have they ever made it easy for hyped esports? And just going to show you things that should be simple, not so simple when you're fighting the undefeated people so far in HeartBreakers, Corn.
I had to watch that back real quick because I just one more time wanted to see exactly what happened. I mentioned the team kill in there slightly. I don't know if anybody heard that or if you heard that specifically, but when you watch that back, you had 2 players from the side of the HeartBreakers in towards the point. You had a player under bedroom and Griff, as I was talking about, making that play, but more importantly, you had the player that was chasing him. So you win that gunfight under bedroom, sure. That's across the map. You're just keeping one player away from the point and playing ring around the rosy, knowing that your teammates are already going to be taking on a 2 versus 3, and you want to get at least one more player away from it so you can make it a little bit easier on them. What ends up happening is Splat was trying to shoot a couple players in towards the point. The head glitch that Veracity was coming through down water steps, he ended up sitting upon. Then he got shot from above with the Krig, which then turned everything sour. So the team kill came through. Dior found 1. Everybody else started to fall after the fact. And then when the last player alive from the side of Hyped Esports was pushing in towards the point, he came from the basketball court and just had absolutely nowhere to go and couldn't even find the player that was stacked on the point because, lo and behold, the tick came through and they won the round off of the progress and not even having to kill the last couple players. That was beautiful. That was textbook in a comeback clutch that we really hadn't been needing to see from HeartBreakers throughout the entirety of the series. A 3 versus 7 puts them not only in the semifinals, but gives them a great deal of confidence knowing that they probably just bested the best chance that they had to lose besides maybe the opposition on the other side in natural talent.
Yeah, one thing about that, Corn, is they have to fight Valiant next.
Well, VG, sure, yeah. But I tried to make it a nice Cinderella story for him, but that's going to be a difficult matchup, and that'll be the teller of who is the best in K7 besides maybe NT.
Yeah, but I guess good silver linings is that these guys they just fought in Hyped, where most people might not have anticipated it. It gave HeartBreakers a serious run for their money, and they're going to be looking back at this, and they're going to be like, we cannot play like this up against these guys over at VG next week. So they're going to be in the lab. They're going to be grinding away, working on the teamwork, especially with this new pickup. They've shown slight little cracks in moments, but overall it's not been enough to cost them the series. Against VG, probably will. So I'm sure that they're going to go back and look at this and say, okay, this is where we messed up. This is where it almost cost us the game. And coming up against VG, we're going to see the strongest HeartBreakers we probably ever seen. And we're going to really need to, because the only loss that this VG roster has taken is a forfeit up against KT.
I'm excited. That is going to be a crazy one, folks. Remember, next week is when all those matches are going to be happening. 2 semifinal matches. You've got a grand final along the way as well. You're not going to want to miss it. K7 Season 3 is nowhere yet close. We're actually only ramping up the anticipation for these matches, and we're also ramping up everything leading up towards these matches as well. But specifically, kind of stating real quick, just bring you back one more time through this best of 5 series. Map number 1, a 6-point victory where Hyped
Hyped eSports saw themselves come back from about a 70, 80-point deficit, put themselves in the lead, and the HeartBreakers got a ton of time on point number 1 to bring it to point number 2 to end the game out. Then in map number 2, a 6-4 S&D win that really could have went either way in a lot of those rounds, but they end up coming out on top. And then in map number 3, 2 rounds go by very, very quickly. HeartBreakers won those convincingly. The third round wasn't the same. They had to clutch in a 3 versus 7 scenario, and they win this series and they'll move on. But Kyle, I mean, realistically, this was an incredible series between both of these two teams, and Hyped eSports, I don't think that their run in K7 or any other leagues is going to be done just yet, because they are a squad that you do not want to give any leeway to.
Yeah, they are not some people you want to mess with, Corn. That is shown by the fact that they almost, if all 3 maps had just gone ever so slightly differently, they could have handed out the first L of the entire season to HeartBreakers, but unfortunately for them, it was not necessarily the case. I cannot wait, because I'm sure that these guys are going to be sticking together. They're like, you know what? For our first time in the league, that was a pretty dang close result, even though it's a 3-0. So, yeah, I would not be upset by that by any means. Hyped eSports, they've got so much potential on that team. Just a few things that they can learn here as well. This entire thing is just a big learning experience for everyone, Corn, me included, because I learned that Hyped eSports is a pretty solid team, even with the new roster.
Well, folks, next week we're going to have matches, as I said, starting on Monday at 8:30. And then Tuesday at 8:30, Wednesday at 8:30, and Thursday at 8:30. That is the times. That is where you need to be. It's going to be here on the K7 League YouTube channel. So if you haven't done so already, and I don't know why you wouldn't have had a chance to do it at this point, but hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button, too, on tonight's stream, because that was a great matchup, and there's really no reason to be disappointed from that. But more importantly, either way, folks, that's going to come to the end of the broadcast. One more time, I want to shout out Innovated Gear, DropShotStats, DesignByYou.com, GitGudHosts, who do all the hosting and make it neutral for all the players, so it's as even as humanly possible. And of course, Rogue Energy. That's going to round out our broadcast. My name is Ben McCormiel. Alongside myself has been Kyle, not only doing casting, but production as well. This guy quite literally can do it all. And the observing, I should say, as well, because the observing and the production go hand in hand, especially at the amateur level. And, of course, the casting on top of it was phenomenal as ever. So, folks, we want to give Kyle a huge round of applause. Thank you to everybody for coming out and supporting K7 here tonight. We'll be back on Monday at 8:30 of next week, May 10th, for the start of finals week leading up to our grand finals. Have a great night, folks. Stay safe. We'll see you next Monday.